Welcome to Listening Screen, where I give you the movie review to listen to. Spoiler-free, of course. I am the type of gamer that will wait for a console's price to drop before purchasing it. The only issue is that when it eventually reaches the price that I'm prepared to pay, it's generally because the next generation of consoles is on the horizon. Basically, I'm saying I'm not a gamer. No, not since the PS3 was the current thing. I often wish I was, but I am too preoccupied with watching movies to commit. That is a roundabout way of explaining that, despite my interest in survival horror games, I have never played Until Dawn. I saw the movie though, which is said to be set in the same universe as the 2015 game, but features an original standalone story that expands upon the game's mythology. The story follows Clover and her 4 friends, who travel to the remote valley where her sister Melanie went missing a year ago. While searching for answers and ultimately closure, they are stalked by a killer who murders them one by one, only to wake up and find themselves back at the beginning of the same evening. So what did I think of this movie as someone with no prior knowledge of the IP? This movie is mid. As much as I enjoy watching 5 hot people being hot and getting killed in increasingly brutal ways whilst being hot for 103 minutes, this movie is mid. Sure, it echoes the kinds of 90s slashers that are catnip to me, such as I Know What You Did Last Summer, Halloween H2O, Urban Legend, Scream, The Faculty, and so on. Seriously, The Faculty is underrated. Go and watch The Faculty. Especially if you're a Josh Hartnett stan, and if you aren't, come on, get real. Josh Hartnett. Anyway, despite evoking those films, even though it claims it doesn't, I got bored at how repetitive this was. Yes, the movie is designed to be repetitive, but seriously, one character literally recognizes the cliches of the story, provoking a response from another character claiming, "There are lots of movies like this," soon after saying, "This is not like those movies." But it is, man. It is. There are lots of scenes with obvious dialogue like that. In spite of this apparent awareness of the genre tropes, no one acknowledges the ominous guy at the gas station that Clover stops to talk to on the way to their destination. Around the halfway point of the movie, the characters realize that their memories are fading and they don't actually know how many days they have been trapped in this loop. Upon realizing this, one of the characters says, "Why don't we remember anything?" and then pauses, reaches for his pocket and says, "Wait, didn't I record something?" I may be paraphrasing a little bit seriously, that's pretty much straight out of the movie. He opens up his phone to find a whole heap of videos of traumatizing things that they have experienced at the house that they are stuck in. These videos were reminiscent of the found footage from movies like VHS, The Ring, and Sinister, but lacked the same effect. You could see the jump scares coming from a mile away. The majority of the dialogue in this movie is expository. I believe a lot of the exposition could have been veiled more effectively with just a rewrite or two. Everything that comes out of these characters' mouths, particularly in the first act, appears to be intended to either advance the plot, establish the lore, or provide context for events that occurred prior to the movie. This unnatural approach may have been made more digestible had the film emphasized more pulpy elements, but David F. Sandberg directs it as if it is a serious horror. This is the guy that directed Lights Out, Annabelle Creation, and both Shazam movies. If you liked those movies, you will probably have fun with this, but I was hoping for something with more substance. Especially in the film's final act, Sandberg's directing style contrasts sharply with Gary Dauberman and Blair Butler's increasingly comedic dialogue. The movie tries to portray that the characters are still frightened of death and suffer great pain from it no matter how many times they experience it. However, this is often contradicted when characters make cheesy jokes in scary situations. For what it's worth, I applaud the absence of overt references to the game. Think back to the Silent Hill movie from 2006. If you've seen it, then you'd recall that it constantly cuts to the protagonist's viewpoint, giving it the feel of a first-person game. I am not a fan of that kind of filmmaking. It takes me out of the experience. I don't want this film to feel like it's a video game adaptation, and thankfully, Until Dawn doesn't initially feel like it's based on a video game. It tries to stand alone, but the frequent character respawning and sequences designed around different areas of the house do make it feel like a video game at times, if only structurally. The movie is color graded vibrantly, and despite how visually dark it is at times, it is properly lit, so you can always comprehend what is going on. The movie's look will not turn you off. It doesn't seem cheap, which is great given it was developed on a $15 million budget. This strong presentation is enhanced by outstanding makeup and practical effects. The 5 main characters have good chemistry. They aren't annoying, but they're not very likable or relatable. Several tensions arise between the characters, but are never fully resolved by the end of the movie, leaving you wondering what the point of the movie was. There is no deep exploration of death or friendship in the movie, which prevented me from becoming emotionally invested. Alla Rubin and Ji Young Yu are the movie's standout performers, as Clover and Megan, respectively. They do an excellent job communicating the emotion demanded of their characters. Megan was the most intriguing character, in my opinion. She fancies herself clairvoyant, despite her friend's legitimate doubts. Disappointingly, she disappears for a considerable section of the movie before she can properly contribute to the plot, and it appeared as if the writers were at a loss for what to do with her. I didn't dislike this movie, it simply didn't accomplish much to pique my interest as a viewer. Perhaps I'm overly harsh, because I genuinely want video game adaptations to succeed. I want the narrative that they are all bad to be fundamentally disproven, but Until Dawn is not the movie that is going to do that. There is a long list of video games with a lot of potential for big screen adaptations, and this one isn't a complete flop. I'm not sure how well it represents its source material, but as a standalone movie, it is okay. It does run about 10 to 15 minutes too long, in my opinion. If you are a fan of the game, I'm sure you will at least be curious to check it out. If you're looking for a disposable and predictable horror with some unique and entertaining deaths, as well as interesting world building, you'll probably enjoy this if you bring some friends along. Otherwise, I would wait for streaming. As someone who would always rather see a movie on the big screen, I hate to suggest wait for streaming, but that's how I feel.